Entrepreneurs aren't born, they are made through failures, breakthroughs, and relentless hustle. Welcome to the Empowered Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni, airing across 185 countries, 26 plus TV networks, 100 plus podcast stations. This is where visionaries share their unfiltered journeys, strategies, and game-changing insights. Your success story starts here. This is more than just a show, it's a movement. Watch, learn, and elevate. So, hello everyone, welcome back to the Empowered Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni, and today I'm with a very special guest. Before I get them on the stage, I'd like to give you a quick introduction just so you know what we are ready for today, right? Every time when we meet, we have something exciting, we have something inspiring, we have something that's going to help you take your business life to the next level so you can become the entrepreneur you're meant to be. Okay, so today my guest, his name is Joe Patneaude, a growth strategist, former corporate executive, and a creator of the STAR Scalability Method, a framework redefining how entrepreneurs scale without sacrificing their health, clarity, or lives. Joe began his career in the mailroom of a financial services firm and rose all the way to the C-suite, experiencing first and the cost of growth built on pressure. After building and selling his own businesses, he realized the problem wasn't ambition, it was misalignment. Business owners were hustling harder but feeling stuck. Joe's mission is simple: helping entrepreneurs build businesses that serve their life, not steal it. Through the STAR method, strategy, team assets, and rewards, he guides founders like you to scale with attention, alignment, and sustainability. Today, he'll share how alignment, not hustle, is the real engine of long-term profitable growth. So if you are looking to learn what it takes to build a business, what it takes to build profits, what it takes to take you to the next level, this is where you need to be. Okay? Right here with us. So I'll welcome my friend, my guest on stage. Hi, Joe. How are you, my friend?
Doing great. How are you today, Rohit?
I'm doing awesome, brother. So yeah, Joe, I did some introduction, but you know what? It's always good to hear it from the man himself. So here we go.
Absolutely. Well, happy to. And first of all, thanks for having me here. My big claim to fame, Rohit, is really my background. You know, I'm not like a lot of coaches where I teach just theory. I'm teaching from experience. I've actually done it. So I started my career over 25 years ago in the mailroom of a financial services firm, tried everything that scared me, and ended up working my way up through pretty much every role you can imagine in financial services with broker-dealers and investment advisors, and finally wrapped up my career in the corporate world in C-suite roles. So I've had several different C-suite roles, chief operating officer, chief compliance, and even chief executive officer. Along the way, I've also stopped and built a couple firms of my own and sold them, as well as an insurance agency of my own. So when I talk to owners about what it takes to build and scale a business, I blend both the educational component from academia as well as that real world component from my own experience.
That's great. And Joe, I know, right? As much as we can keep saying it, it's usually not easy how we start, right? And how we take it step by step to the next level. In saying that, you say many entrepreneurs confuse activity with progress. Why is this such a common trap for most entrepreneurs right now in this day and age?
I think there's several reasons for that. I think one reason that a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in activities that aren't driving their business forward is for a couple reasons. One, misalignment with why they started their business and what they're trying to accomplish. So a misalignment with their own value system. But two, as human beings, we like to do the things that we know and are comfortable for us. So if you heard me before and I said, I tried everything that scared me and that's how I advanced. It's the same with building your business. You're going to have to do some of those tasks that maybe you aren't as comfortable with. For example, most of my career was in financial services. If you're really good in operations, you might hesitate to put yourself out there from a sales perspective. Or if you're really good in sales, you might hesitate to tackle the compliance things. And it's true with any business you build. There's going to be the components that you enjoy and the components that are less enjoyable. And as humans, we want to focus on the stuff we enjoy. It makes us feel really busy. It makes us feel really productive, but it doesn't move our business forward. Part of being an entrepreneur is stepping back and saying, okay, what does my business need? And how do I then bring that into my activities on a daily basis to move my business forward?
And in saying that, I'll come back here, and I believe uh, it's all about falling down and getting back up, right? Like initially, you're trying things. I know you would need a coach. I know you would need a mentor somewhere along the way to take that next step. But initially, once you're trying things, it's everything up to you. And the same happened with me. When I started, I had to have a chip on my shoulder to make sure I get the job done no matter what. No one's going to help me. Anything that happens to be good or bad, I'm the person responsible, and no one gives a F for it. You got to make sure you get this done no matter what. So, in saying that, what does scaling smarter really mean in today's business landscape? Because it's all about activity versus progress, right? Where hustle culture and on why hustle culture fails, right? So, what do you mean when you say scaling smarter is a real deal?
Well, when you come down to it, you have to really look at your assets of your firm, and whether that's your team, your proprietary knowledge, the product you're producing, it doesn't matter. Everything's an asset. And when you look at that, you have to look at how you exponentially multiply that. And hustling, being more active, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the results that you want. So you could work 70, 80 hours a week and still be making less than the person down the street with the same business if you're not using your tools correctly, if you're not using your team correctly, if you're not leveraging those different things that are at your disposal. And, I'm a big believer that you don't have to hustle harder to get more of what you want. If you leverage what you have better, you're going to maximize all of that, get more from it. And if you don't mind, Rohit, I'll share a quick story. I worked with someone recently who wanted to grow his assets under management as his financial firm. He had his own practice. He really wanted to grow his assets under management to a specific level. And I said to him, well, why? And his response to me, his name was Sean. Sean told me, well, I want to make this certain amount of income, and that's what I need for my business to be able to pay me that income. And he wasn't a one-man shop. He had, another advisor and a junior advisor and some operations staff. And so I said, okay, Sean, but I said, if you add those assets that you're going to need to get to that level you're thinking of, I said, are you also going to have to add more operations staff? Are you going to have to add other advisors? Are you going to increase marketing spend? And he said, well, yeah. So I said, when you do all that, what's really left over? And when we did the math, it showed that it left him with the same income level. Doubling his assets under management left him with the ability to pay himself the same amount of money. And I said, well, that doesn't make sense. So we looked at his processes, we streamlined what he was doing, and we made his marketing that was working better by doubling down on it. And we cut the things that weren't working, and we really got his staff more engaged, delegated more responsibilities. Instead of having to double his assets under management, he only had to increase his assets under management by about 10%. And he was able to then pay himself what he wanted to pay, just because things were working better.
Like I said, it's all about things taking things step at a time, right? And
Right.
I also feel like, Joe, what I've seen recently, and I want to talk to you about it. I know we have to run into a quick break after this, is when you're into financial sector, you need to know that it's not just you, it's everyone else who's dependent on you as well, right? So your decision, every step that you make is key. And it's although it's not just about the money aspect, it's about how you're building your wealth at the same time. Because if you can multiply what you're making in the right and the smartest way, you're going to succeed. But there's always some risk on it. And you being into financial space for all this time, you know better than most. And people risk it all. So have you seen some people risk it all and then, flush those things down? So because that happens a lot with a lot of people I see in the financial sector, they get overconfident, they make some money fast, and then they make mistakes. Have you seen something like that? I know it's off topic, but it's always important to talk about it so that someone who's watching won't make a mistake like that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think with any industry, you run the risk of getting overconfident and then making bad decisions that lead to failure, right? I mean, that's how we all learn to some extent. But in financial services, yeah, it really doubles down on that because it's such a highly regulated industry. No matter where you are in the world, everywhere in the world has got a ton of regulations around how investments are handled and things like that. So what I've seen the most of is people who get really confident and they start getting sloppy with their paperwork, and they start getting sloppy with how they're complying with the rules and regulations. And that's where suddenly you go from being able to drive your dream Lamborghini to losing your business and having to go back to a customer service role, is from overlooking those things that got you there. So you do have to have that good firm foundation, because that firm foundation is what's going to make everything scalable and allow you to grow without losing those compliance values and losing your own ethical values that keep you doing business the right way and in a way that you're proud of for your clients.
I completely agree. In saying that, Joe, we have to run into a quick break. But when we come back, everyone, Joe will share with us his journey from mailroom to C-suite to selling businesses and how you can do the same as well, and have a journey that's going to inspire a lot of people. So I'll see you right after this quick break.
As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high impact marketing and scroll stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you.
Most entrepreneurs don't struggle because they lack ambition. It's because their business isn't built to support the growth they want. And I learned that early in my career watching talented leaders exhaust themselves trying to grow without the right structure. That's why I created the STAR Scalability Method, so entrepreneurs can grow sustainably, not painfully. If you're putting in the work, but still not seeing the clarity or freedom you expected, the issue isn't your effort, it's alignment. When your strategy, team, assets, and rewards work together, everything finally clicks. If you want a clearer map of where you're losing time and potential, book a STAR Profit Map call. It's a focused 30-minute conversation to help you see your next step clearly. Schedule your call at jpcoachingnow.com.
So hello everyone, welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host, Rohit Soni, and I'll have my guest, my friend Joe, on the stage again. So Joe, before the break, we talked a lot about, like scaling smarter, activity versus progress, and why hustle culture, which is trending, fails usually. So let's talk a little bit more about your journey, right? You started in the mailroom and walked your way to executive leadership. What did that climb teach you about sustainable growth? And how do you see the landscape these days for the same?
So I think the first thing that it taught me is really the background of why every role exists in every firm, right? It really taught me that there is no such thing as a undervalued role or a role that's not needed. There's every cog in the machine makes a difference, right? And so starting at that low level and working my way up through multiple jobs in multiple departments with multiple firms really gave me an opportunity to see how it all worked together. And I think that's one thing that as entrepreneurs, we learn the hard way sometimes, is when we have to start filling in all the things we've never done before. But this gave me sort of an advanced copy of that book, if you will. And then the next thing it does is it really allowed me to work for many different leadership styles. Okay. I've worked with some people that I would argue are tremendous leaders, and I learned a ton of very positive things from them. And I've also worked for some leaders where I learned the steps I wouldn't take if I was in their shoes, and you see the good and the bad is what I'm saying. And you see the successes and failures. And when you have that balance, it doesn't make you fall into the trap of everything's rosy and sunshiny if you only work for good leaders. And it doesn't turn you off of the industry you're in by only working for bad leaders. It really gave me a great balance. And it allowed me to see the benefits and the drawbacks to a number of different decisions along the way. It also gave me the chance to succeed and fail on my own in several different roles. When you're trying something new you've never done before, you're going to trip occasionally. You're going to have decisions that look good on paper that don't work out very well in reality. And I was fortunate enough to have those in a controlled environment. And it really gave me the ability now to think about things from another perspective and to help other people see things outside of the perspective that they themselves are sitting in. Quick example, if you've worked in customer service and now you're an operations manager or a compliance manager, you understand what that customer service person is going through. So when you make a new rule or a new process, you're going to take them in mind and say, how is this actually going to impact what they're doing? And I got that firsthand by going through all of that. So that was great, and I've done everything from tech to customer service to ops, you name it. Flip that into later in my life when I decided to build and sell my own practices. The first one wasn't my best success. I mean, I built a practice, it was sustainable, but I didn't enjoy it. So I went back to corporate world. And what I learned from that and going back to the corporate world was that there were things about being a business owner I liked and things about being a business owner I didn't like. And I had to really sit down with that and say to myself, okay, how do I make the things I didn't like better? And how do I amplify the things that I did like? The one thing that jumped out at me to start with was the fact that I needed to know why I was building that business. What was the purpose when it aligned with my values beyond just money? We all need money. We all have jobs because we have bills, right? But what was the purpose for the money? What was the reason why I wanted to have a business? That really was the trigger that kicked off the entire process and started me down this road. And that also is why I wanted to start helping other people.
Absolutely. And in saying that, Joe, I always feel your journey tells who you actually are, right? Because even in my own journey, when I see that there's a pattern in people, there's a pattern in process, and we just need to understand those patterns to build and create sustainable growth everywhere we go, right? Which is the key. And when you built and sold your own companies, Joe, right? What pressure points showed you that growth on paper isn't the same as healthy growth?
Yeah, that's right. Growth on paper is just that. It looks very objective. You see those numbers, and when you see them double, triple, or whatever your multiplier is in your industry, it looks great on paper. But if you're absolutely miserable, it's not worth it. That's why I feel like you have to align that with who you are and what you want and what you enjoy out of life, because that's where the disconnect is.
Absolutely. And in saying that, was there anything that has happened to you, right, that you want to share with us that changed everything about what you do? Like any aha moment that you felt, okay, this is my mission now, and this is what I want to do for the world. I want to serve in this industry.
Yeah, so there's really a couple of moments. One big one I'll talk about here in a second. But first of all is just the recognition that I wanted to give back to the industry somehow for the people that believed in me when, they didn't have a reason to. The people that gave me a chance on things I had never done. But how do you ever repay those people? You can't. The only way you can do it is pay it forward, right? To the next generation. And so I'm very passionate about helping the next generation of business owners, the next generation of advisors to be able to build their career and to give them that shot that I was given early in my career. The second part of that really, and the big deciding factor for me was a few years ago, I decided to leave corporate world again and go out and build my second financial practice and my insurance agency simultaneously because I had a family member. It was my mom, actually. She was diagnosed with cancer. And I knew that she was going to need me. I knew she was going to need time from me, and that was going to prevent me from working a 40-hour week and balancing my life with any quality to it. And so I needed the flexibility more than I needed the set salary at that point. And I knew that I could do it. I had built a financial practice before, and I felt like I had learned a lot in the years since my last practice. So I went out and built a new practice, built it a different way, built the insurance agency at the same time. And that allowed me to not only build a profitable business, which I was able to sell for actually more than what I had hoped for, and gave me the 3 years I needed to spend those last 3 years with my mother while she was going through her treatments and ultimately, left us. But that time was more valuable to me than being in a job with a set salary and a set number. The irony is, by focusing on my value system, knowing what was more important to me, I actually made more money, had more flexibility, and was able to sell that business and exit it for a profit.
Well, it's all about self-worth, right? You know your value, you'll always be successful, because when you know your worth, you can walk around ways that you can't even sometimes imagine. You can move mountains. You can feel something which couldn't be done 2 years ago. Now suddenly it's getting done because you had that faith in you when no one believed, right? In saying that, Joe, we got to run into another quick break. But when we come back, we will talk about the STAR Scalability Method, alignment that compounds effort, and how people can directly work with Joe, okay? So I'll see everyone right after this quick break.
As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high-impact marketing and scroll-stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you.
Most entrepreneurs don't struggle because they lack ambition. It's because their business isn't built to support the growth they want. And I learned that early in my career watching talented leaders exhaust themselves trying to grow without the right structure. That's why I created the STAR Scalability Method, so entrepreneurs can grow sustainably, not painfully. If you're putting in the work, but still not seeing the clarity or freedom you expected, the issue isn't your effort, it's alignment. When your strategy, team, assets, and rewards work together, everything finally clicks. If you want a clearer map of where you're losing time and potential, book a STAR Profit Map call. It's a focused 30-minute conversation to help you see your next step clearly. Schedule your call at jpcoachingnow.com.
So hello everyone, welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni, and I'll welcome my guest again, Joe. And before the break, Joe, we kind of take a deep dive into what you have done prior and how you're helping the world. Now we want to know how you're currently helping the world, how you're scaling and helping them with alignment that compounds effort. And we want to learn a lot more about your STAR Scalability Method. So if you can break down STAR for us, strategy, team, asset, rewards, how do these four pillars work together? If you can share, that would be great, and how people can directly work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So STAR is obviously an acronym. As you said, it stands for strategy, team, assets, and rewards. And really, we'll talk about more of those each here in just a second. But basically, the idea is that strategy directs your energy. Your team distributes your energy. Your assets multiply your energy, and your rewards sustain it. So that's really how they all fit together. And talking a little bit more about that, strategy comes down into the alignment with your value system. As we talked about before the break, you got to really know why you're doing a business so that you can align that energy with it. And then your team, when you figure out what that strategic vision is, you have to make sure your team's on board with that and be able to delegate effectively. Because the reality is, if you're building a business where every decision has to run through you, you're not building a business, you're just building a bottleneck. So we really have to make sure that the team knows what they can do, how they can do it, and how you're going to expand that team in the future. So many people hire only for what they need today instead of what they need to get where they want to be. So we have to make sure that the team is aligned there. Then, sorry, Rohit, did you want to say something? Or
Same plus one. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. So with the assets, under assets, that's going to refer to everything you have. That's your process. That is your physical assets, your intellectual property, really anything you have, all of your technology tools. All of those factors are just multipliers. And for any of you who have heard me talk on like my Chaos to Clarity Masterclass, what you'll hear is that your assets are multipliers. And if all you have is chaos, they will multiply chaos. So you have to make sure that you have a process to use everything efficiently and to keep everything in line, because you're going to multiply whatever it is you already have. So you got to make sure it's worth multiplying first.
Absolutely.
Right? And then the last part of that is,
I was just saying that I completely agree with your last point, and I feel like that needs to be considered. Yeah, you can continue.
Yeah, you multiply what you already have, so you got to make sure it's worth multiplying. And then when it comes to the R in STAR, I get a little bit of pushback on this one sometimes. You know, the world we live in, the hustle culture that we have says focus on results, focus on results. Well, the reality is you get what you focus on. And if you focus on results and your results are negative, you will never get positive results. Okay. You want to focus on rewards. You need to know what your reward system is that aligns back to your strategy and your strategic vision. When you tie your rewards back to your strategy, that's when you start to recognize progress and you continue to make progress. Your results are only a measurement of how much progress you've made, but your reward system is what's more valuable. So the takeaway here for everybody on that I would like to just point out is that when your energy is aligned, profit becomes a byproduct of your purpose. And that's the key that everybody needs to keep in mind. You have to have that alignment to get those rewards.
Yes, it's like saying that don't go after success, just go after excellence. Everything else will follow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell me when I'm telling lies, right?
Right. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's absolutely true. You know, everything compounds effort. So if you focus on just doing it well and being the best you can be and performing the best you can, the results and the rewards are going to follow. So, yeah.
Great. And in saying that, Joe, how people can work with you directly, how they can connect with you, and is there any certain program that you're currently offering that can benefit them? If you can share that right now, it would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few different ways to connect with me. The easiest thing to do is just visit my website. It's jpcoachingnow.com. Type it all out like it's one word, jpcoachingnow.com. And from there, you can learn a little more about me. You can buy a copy of the book, the STAR Scalability Method, and follow the STAR. You'll also be able to look at the different services that, we offer. So people can engage with me on a few different levels. If you'd like a coach to come in, meet with you for 10 sessions and say, hey, these are the things you need to consider. This is how we build your foundational roadmap and give you a good plan to follow. We have that. If you need a little more hands-on engagement and you need that consultant or that fractional, C-suite role to come in and help you get things off the ground for a while, also available for that. If you'd just like to learn more about STAR Scalability Method, also visit the website. You'll see that there's links out there to sign up for any of the master classes that I'm doing. All of my master classes are free to attend and give you a really good tool to help build things as you're learning.
With Joe, what I'm also going to do is I'll put all the links here, okay, in front of you, so you can connect with him directly, work with him, and then take it from there, right? Right now, we have to run into a quick break right now. I'll put all the links before the break so you can see them. And we'll see you after this quick break where Joe and I will do a quick rapid fire together, right? So I'll see you after this short break.
As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high-impact marketing and scroll-stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you.
Most entrepreneurs don't struggle because they lack ambition. It's because their business isn't built to support the growth they want. And I learned that early in my career watching talented leaders exhaust themselves trying to grow without the right structure. That's why I created the STAR Scalability Method, so entrepreneurs can grow sustainably, not painfully. If you're putting in the work, but still not seeing the clarity or freedom you expected, the issue isn't your effort, it's alignment. When your strategy, team, assets, and rewards work together, everything finally clicks. If you want a clearer map of where you're losing time and potential, book a STAR Profit Map call. It's a focused 30-minute conversation to help you see your next step clearly. Schedule your call at jpcoachingnow.com.
So hello everyone, welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit Soni, and I'll have my guest again on the stage, Joe. Joe, I've been loving this podcast, brother, and I feel like there's a lot of value that we have already shared with people, and I just can't wait for people to connect with you and talk to you about how you can help them, right, with your unique method. In saying that, Joe, is there any piece of advice you want to offer to our audience that you think can help them? It could be anything. So if we can share with us, would be great.
Yeah, I think the one thing I would say right off the bat is that, we've talked a lot about foundations and systemizing things and whatnot. And I want to just remind everybody that systems don't remove the human side of the business. They make room for it. Because there's a common misconception out there that to systematize, that you have to take away the personalization and the human aspect of it. And that's simply not true. It doesn't depersonalize your business. It actually protects that personalization if you do it correctly and if you build in the systems that are going to allow that. The other thing is that busyness doesn't mean success. Okay, we've talked about it before. Productivity is not the same as being busy.
Sometimes I also feel like being busy just keeps you busy, but it doesn't let you grow. It's all about busy doing the things that's going to help you, that's going to make sure you elevate yourself to the next level, right? And that's what I believe in. So are you ready for a quick rapid fire, Joe?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Alignment or hustle?
Oh, definitely alignment.
One book every entrepreneur should read.
Follow the STAR, Unlock Monumental Business Growth.
Okay, that's something I should take a look. Follow, can you repeat again?
Follow the STAR, Unlock Monumental Business Growth.
And it's by who?
Me.
I'm going to read it, Rana. That's for sure. And I'll put the link of the book as well, okay? So people can buy.
All joking aside, Rohit, I think the E-Myth Revisited is a phenomenal book that most entrepreneurs should read, especially in today's digital world.
Okay, I'll put that link as well. Yeah. Okay, biggest myth about scaling that you've ever heard?
Oh, biggest myth about scaling is definitely that there's any one-size-fits-all solution. There's not. Scaling needs to reflect your values and your lifestyle.
Great. Strategy or systems, which unlocks momentum faster?
Definitely got to have the strategy first before you can implement them.
And in one word, what creates sustainable growth?
Values.
Absolutely. And it's the values at the end of the day, Joe, that matters. It keeps you going. It makes sure that you have a great business. Make sure your employees are doing well. It makes sure that your business is going, right? Everything depends on that. And then comes strategy, then the systems, right? I've learned a lot, by the way, from this episode. And like everyone who's heard it, that make sure that I know maybe you're driving and you're listening to it, right? Maybe you're watching it on TV, or maybe you're watching it on your system, your laptop, your phone. Make sure you implement all the strategies that Joe has shared. Have and get in touch with him if you're requiring his service. And let's ensure that we move towards working from a place of consistency and smartness instead of just going for it and being busy, because that's what we don't want, right? Any last thing that you want to share, Joe, before we go off here?
I would just say, to everybody out there, especially if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, because the entrepreneurial process can be very overwhelming, no matter what stage of it you're in. Ask yourself, where am I overextended? And what would it look like if this one thing were simpler? And start with one thing. And that may be all you need to sort of kick off that foundation and realize where your alignment is aligned and where it's not.
Absolutely. So, Joe, it was a pleasure to have you, my friend, today on the show. And I believe everyone who has heard taken a lot of value. And I would love to have you here again soon. And for everyone who watched the show today, make sure you share it with someone who might need to hear it. You share with someone who would be help with it. You get them to contact Joe if you feel someone would need help. And if you need it, you know where to reach out, right? Because all the links will be right in front of you. So I'll see you soon next week at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Success isn't for the chosen few. It's for those who choose to show up, take action, and never back down. This is the Empower Entrepreneur, hosted by Rohit Soni, airing across 185 countries, 26 plus TV networks, and 100 plus podcast stations. You've heard the strategies, you've seen the mindset. Now it's time to execute. I'll see you next week, every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Go, build, dominate. Until next time, stay empowered.